I do trust them. I do, because of everything that Steven just mentioned, how they are scoring points at a high clip, what we have seen from Tua, the accuracy. It is the injury, the health of Tua is the biggest concern with him. But thus far, you can't disparage anything that he has done on the football field. The one caveat with the Dolphins, in my mind, is if the Dolphins can win up front, if they can block this Eagles defensive front, which is nasty, if they can do that, they're going to win the game. To me, it's going to be about the trenches. Like, I understand the importance of Tyreek Hill. I understand the importance of A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. But if the Eagles can prevent if the Dolphins can prevent the Eagles from bullying them, I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah, until the Dolphins win a game on the road in a big spot,
yeah.
I can't trust them. They gave up 48 points to Buffalo. Tua has not won a big road playoff game or a road game in the NFL since he's been there. And I know they're dangerous, but they're walking into Philly at a bad time. Philly lost a terrible game. Hurts is going to hear about Tua at Alabama all week. They're going to hear about how Miami's offense is unstoppable, so that defense is going to be all pumped up. Listen, the Dolphins, I understand they have a prolific offense, and Hill, the weather shouldn't be that bad. I get all that. But when is the last time this franchise, you can't even Marino, when's the last time this franchise walked into a big, last year they got killed in San Francisco, they got killed in Buffalo early in the year. When's the last time this franchise took this crew, went on the road and played, and don't count the Patriots or the Chargers, a good team, and won a game? I've never seen it. So because of that, until I do, I say I don't trust them.
You know what, Doggy? When the Lord created us, we crawl before we walk. You know that, right?
Ooh.
And there's always step one. And I don't see any reason why I can't be step one with the Miami Dolphins this year. It's a legitimate argument that could be made. They can end up having the best record in the AFC. If they pull that off, that means the road to the Super Bowl comes through South Beach, or at least nearby. And the fact is that if I don't have to worry about them going to Buffalo in a cold January evening, if I don't have to worry about them going to Kansas City, if I don't have to worry about them going to Cincinnati or Cleveland, all right, and I get to sit up there and watch them play games near South Beach, I'm looking at a team that is averaging over nearly 36 points a game, that already have scored 223 points thus far this year. Okay, they are #1 in yards. They are #1 in points. They got the #1 passing attack. They got the #1 rushing attack. And the likelihood is that if you're going to beat them, you need to count on putting up at least 25 to 30. You got to be able to do that. Now, we haven't looked at the Dolphins' defense and said they're trash. We think they can improve. They're ranked 26th overall. They're ranked 19th against the pass, 20th against the rush, middle of the road. But that's usually because they're scoring in bunches. So they could take chances. They could take their foot off the gas. There's a level of urgency that's lacking because they're putting up points. And they got bum rushed by Buffalo, and I get that. That's the one game where they wet the bed, and they got something to prove in regards to that. But rather than lean on the 48-20 loss that they suffered at the hands of the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo a few weeks ago, you know what I'm going to point to? I'm going to point to the same squad last year in the AFC playoff game against the Buffalo Bills, losing 34-31 with Skylar Thompson as their quarterback. And I'm going to say, well, what if this year it's Tua instead of Skylar? What if this year if the game is in Florida instead of Buffalo? Do they have a chance? You damn right they have a chance. You crawl before you walk.
Doggy,
give them the chance.
Those are all wonderful points, but the point that Doggy's making is when you look at the teams that they have beaten, those teams this year have a combined record of 5-24.
Okay.
So when you factor that in, with them not going on the road and they went to Buffalo, Buffalo beat them down. This game might just be the most important on their schedule. Not because it's the next one, but because if they go into Philly, which is a difficult place to play, like you said, Mad Dog, facing a team that just got embarrassed by the Jets, if you go in and beat the Eagles, that legitimizes what we think the Dolphins are. You talk about crawl before you walk. This is a statement game. This is the most important game for the Dolphins because we know they can put up gaudy numbers at a high clip. But can you win a bully game? Can you go against these teams like the 49ers, the Eagles, that will be physical? It's not just using your speed. It's about when the score is tight, can you actually pull it out? That is what I want to see. I think they're completely capable of doing so. But because we haven't seen it, that is the caveat.
Well, plus Steve's math is crazy, as usual.
Well,
I mean, Steve, what? Hey, you give me all these offensive numbers. They scored 70 points against Denver, and they scored 42 against Carolina.
Okay.
Those teams stink. They shouldn't be in the NFL.
I remember you telling me weeks ago you played the schedule that you have.
I never said that. I don't use that.
That's what you said. Excuse me, that's not nonsense. You sat up there and said this is the NFL.
When did I say that?
Listen, you said that weeks ago.
Did you say
said
that?
No, I
didn't.
I don't know.
You said you've never said it. Don't let me call up.
Not here, I haven't. I always look at the schedule.
Not here, not on this show.
Did you just say not here?
Not on this
Is that what you used? Is that what you?
I may have uttered it somewhere else.
Oh, really? So you may have uttered it somewhere else. So in other words, if I get sound from Mad Dog Radio, it don't count because it wasn't on First Take. Is that what you're saying?
Well,
so in other words, I'm supposed to take. Listen, excuse me. I got the individual. You understand? This is the show, but I got the individual. Mad Dog's excerpts follow him wherever he goes, just like Stevie A follows Stevie A wherever it goes.
Got a point, Mad Dog.
You understand? If you said it on Mad Dog Radio, it counts. And you said on many occasions, you play the games that's in front of you. It's only 17 games in the season. My God. I mean, come on. What are they supposed to do? I mean, this is what the schedule. They don't make up the schedule. They don't make up the schedule. I mean, they only play the teams that are in front of them. That's what you've never said that? Of course you've said that. So stop it.
May I continue?
Yes.
112 points to Carolina. You're nuts, you know. I just got back from the East River, by the way. So, that was funny last week. 100 days I wasn't involved with this stuff.
I know. Christopher Mad Dog Russo, do the Lions need to beat the Ravens to prove their legitimacy?
Yeah, to me they do. And putting the Lions one is a little premature, Stevie. Oh, my God. I mean,
the list is fluid.
Fluid nonsense. I mean, it's a little premature. Listen, everybody loves the Lions. Who isn't rooting for the Lions? They haven't obviously won one playoff game in 50 years. You love the silver. You love the silver and blue. You love the franchise, the history of it. You know, Goff got thrown out of L.A., so you kind of root for him, too. Who doesn't like Campbell's got a lot of personality. He was on Hard Knocks. So who doesn't like the Lions? Or who's going to sit there and root against them? I'm not. You're not. Stevie A's not. We all want to see them do well. But they did beat Kansas City on the road, and no Kelsey and no Chris Jones, and the Chiefs sort of getting themselves together. Green Bay stinks, so winning games in Lambeau is not that big a deal. They beat Rodgers there last year, but the Packers are 8-9. So, to me, this is a hard game. Now, the Ravens coming off Europe, that takes a little something out of them. But the Ravens are a legit franchise. He's a legit quarterback. I got to see a little more before I go crazy about Detroit being the best team in the NFL. And this win here in Baltimore would show me something. If they walk into Baltimore and stop Jackson, that's a prideful team, Harbaugh a good coach, I would be impressed. This is a very hard game to call. Ravens are a 3-point favorite in the game. So that tells you it's about an even because of the home field. They give them the 3 points. But I got to see the Lions win a big road game, sort of like Miami, to think that they are very well in Stevie's fluid list, the #1 team in the NFL.
Well, sometimes you could get there by default, particularly at this point in juncture in the season. When you look at the Detroit Lions right now, they've got a swag about them. They're 5-1. They're tied for the best record in the National Football League. They're going to run away with the NFC North as far as I'm concerned. We look at a guy like David Montgomery running the football effectively. We look at Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's been receiving the ball. You just got back Jameson Williams because he was gone because of the gambling issue with the National Football League. He immediately comes back in.
Makes a big catch.
He makes a big-time catch. He's a deep threat for them. He can spread the field, right? So you can run the ball. You can pass the ball. Obviously, you've got a defense this year. It's not overall stellar, like doesn't knock your socks off, but it's getting the job done. Clearly, they are significantly improved from what they were last year. Then I got to take into account the fact that they did win those 3 games on the road: Kansas City, Green Bay, Tampa. I got to take that into account. But here's where we go. You realize that Jared Goff is a league MVP candidate. Have you been paying attention?
I know, he played well.
This guy right here ranks 3rd in the NFL in passer rating at 105. It's currently his career high. He's tied for 5th in the league with 11 touchdowns, just 3 interceptions on the year. He ranks 5th in passing yards per game at 269.7 per game. Think about what he's doing there. Think about right now. The highest overall quarterback grades by Pro Football Focus this season: Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Tua Tagovailoa, Patrick Mahomes. all of them are behind Jared Goff at 90.4. Okay, the man, we acted like he's around forever. He's been around forever. He's only 29 years of age, balling, leading, showing you the way.
Yeah.
13-3 record since week 9 of last season, second in the NFL behind the San Francisco 49ers. All of those things are justifiable reasons as to why right now
and the Niners
you can look at them and say, hey, for now.
Do you completely trust Goff in a big game?
I don't. But what I'm saying is that doesn't negate the fact that at the moment, I'm looking at them compared to the other teams and saying, excuse me, I got to give credit where credit is due.
Why not?
Credit where credit is due. Listen to it. Listen to it.
There's 3-point underdog Sunday on the
Yeah, well, that tells you it's about an even game.
Yeah.
Don't you think this is an interesting test for the Lions to see if they can go to Baltimore and win the game? That's the point.
I think it's an interesting test for the Ravens as well.
I do too. But the Ravens have the Browns, Steelers, and Bengals to play in that division. Lions have nobody in that division. So that's why these games for them are more significant.